Wanna know they picking or they watch me. Let me tell you the truth.
So mama, tell them stop social distancing, know the kids are free.
So make we all here, take this precaution, take them up. Corona no limba, inata bimende, ino no timene all up.
Adu and Kushe, I don't come back with another edition of the program. Let we tap Corona na Salone. Na Radio Mount Aureol-CTN na Frabe College na Freetown. Join on with 14 partner radio stations, including the radio station where they listen to so, for bringing this program to you. Inside the last edition, we will continue for look at how the Corona sick don't about business, especially them petty together them, where they find the answer most every day. Inside this edition, I go look at how the Corona sick don't about picking them na the country, especially them school business. Me now na presenter Bintu Mansae. Plenty people can suffer in different ways with sickness they can a country. But one part of the people them we can suffer more, na picking them. The COVID-19 sick done then at the country since March this year, and in there about plenty people them. But Master Sabi people them believe say, picking them don't suffer more from Corona sick na the country, especially the education business. So I dey ask how the Corona sick don't affect school picking them na the country. As always, I can go around the country and forget the answers we reporter them. For sake of that, I dey begin abo inside the southern region and hear from Sheku Farmer, the office manager for the National Commission for Children Southern Region. In talk to Timothy Luseni, where they work na classic radio na Bo City.
The impact of COVID-19, it all negatively affects the beginning at this part of the region. More especially, it all make they don't sit down na house. Then school business boku don't go bien. Then most of them don't they lack in plenty. As them parents them boku look tired right now with them behaviors them na house. And the way how the sick of insect don't make the all long panic. COVID-19 are a very bad sick. It come with that kind of tension the way we say. Most people they fear them, and we all they fear them because of waiting they do. And now a pandemic, the whole world they fear them. And one of the negative impacts where it don't create to the nation, even with finances also as a nation, don't they go down because of the support, and even the beginning themselves. Boku sit down na house now not able for do nothing, and boku don't turn street hawkers them because they're not able for go school. They don't turn street hawkers them because they're not able for go school. And most of the parents them not get that money they for take care of them now house. So they just get for turn to street retailers them. And then they not find for the picking them. The more they sit down na house and so they bring the doll. And we always they say the picking them are the future leaders them of tomorrow. And when they're in school, actually would be able to teach them what's not the good or the bad. But being that then are us, they're not able to know actually what's good for them or what's bad for them, because not everybody know the health status of them picking, and then not everybody know the implication of the actual and the virus of insect. So the sick is really bad, and it don't negatively affect the picking them and the youth them as well.
So let me look at when normal times we they see picking them, even though the kid in a state, but not like this time where school don't hold on for this COVID-19 way it did in the country. We maybe don't make government put hold on schools, and we they see plenty picking them at school and a state where they sell markets. Some don't begin, some don't be the family bear now way now that they make money, bring money in their homes for the family, the mommy and papa that see don't know now the picking in the state.
Actually, this secret even they undermine the flagship program of His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio, when at the free quality education. Because if the school day, then the beginning not able to attend, how you go expect for that flagship program go on fine, or how we will expect good results from that flagship program where the beginning not they go school. And we all not happy about this COVID-19, because if the COVID-19 not the beginning go down the school now by now. As we all know, September then our school for don't open now, and therefore don't start the new academic year. But because of the COVID-19, now school and they open bit by bit. For now, we only don't get the pre-primary we don't start, and the preschool we don't start now. Of course, we expect for let government go able for lift the ban for the primary. As we all see, the GSS3, then they don't just don't complete the Mbeke exam. And this one again, they make now but get for go sit down for a very long time. They sit down there wait the results. And we pray that this CKR go and the government go lift the ban. So we go get with normal status again at the country.
That's Nasheku Farmer, when are the office manager for the National Commission for Children in Southern Region. Still inside the Southern Region, at the Gona Bones, Usai Jonathan Omaru, the station manager na Jange Radio, we talk to Joseph D. Sivali, the district coordinator for women in crisis na Matgujong.
For me, on assessment, it created negative impact on children in the Bondo District. Since we focus on adolescent girls and also children, during the COVID, the activity did not even come to a halt, stop completely. Past very recently, when the donors, the member for Kange adolescent girls, dignity hits back to 375 girls in Bondo District, specifically Jong, Bandakemo, and Sobeni. But like when we assess the negative impact, we know exactly what they mean in terms of education. And for that, the free quality education, when we look at it squarely, when they see what the government will try for do for let the people sit down near the radios and listen. But even the radio teaching program was not effective in Bondo District at all. So educationally, the people they don't even get much time for Sidonia and radios and study, and even the parents them. The economic power of the parent don't drop drastically because of the COVID-19. Their movement also we don't stop. Whether they move from one point to another, business we don't come to a standstill because when the parents and get money, they will support their picking there, even the livelihood, for get good food because before you learn book, one of the things that we always think about now for develop the brain. And how you will develop the brain fast, you get enough food, balanced diet. And at the time when I say that people, the picking away and they born this street, they not actually they under the balanced diet because of the poor economic status of the parents. So in terms of education as a whole, in actual fact, we still there in Bondo District, and even when you do the assessment per children, Bondo District now one of the areas that is very much challenging. We're very much challenging when in terms of education. Some children they picking them for even let them go JSS is very difficult. So when my brother they asked me about the negative impact during the COVID-19, we see say they come up clearly. But though Bondo District we are above situation at the moment in terms of COVID, because we don't go for days, more than 40 days without COVID. That's a very good kudos on the side of the COVAX and other key players in the fight of COVID. But when we look at the children also, the protection of the children is very much key, and because in terms of development, children are very much focused, and because if the picking a non-land book, this country not will develop. And for that, we see the president a vision, now forget the free quality education for children. But it is so much challenging in Bondo District. Even when the MPSC result don't come out, we are frustrated because most of the schools they will feel say they will do well, they don't do well at all. So in terms of negative impact, there's some amount of great negative impact on children in terms of education in Bondo District.
Yeah, so what's not the further push we want to institute for CC like on a remedy some part the challenge then we want the fix now Bondo District also in the realm of education for picking them more or less than welfare.
One of the strategies we don't use, one, the social welfare means you don't do some community engagement, more in terms of child protection, because we not only focus on education, we also focus on the protection, on the health, and also on the standard of living. So social welfare don't begin to do community sensitization to CC. Children should be protected at all costs, Ghana 1. Children should be fed at all costs, Ghana 2. Children should go to school, Medicare, and the rest of things. So social welfare, they also do that.
That's not Joseph D. Sivali, one of the district coordinator for women in crisis, Samat Gujong, Bondo District. I leave the southern region now and head for Kailaun at the eastern region for join Alexandra Jamiru, where they work na Radio Mount, as in talk to Yusufu Bondo, one of the social services officer na the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, Kailaun District.
We look at this COVID-19, it don't make we school picking them, they don't stand at us. most of them, because of the house. So like they always get in touch with the streets. They don't get time to take them book study, and where you can look at them when they didn't at the various schools, because they spend time at their schools, so they will get time with them book. So like for make them get negative thinking about themselves, it will be very minimal. But now when it's COVID-19 don't come, they don't get more idle time at the house or the communities, then we go lead them to early marriage or teenage pregnancy, and in communities then USAID. And most USAID vulnerable communities and they, because you can find it very difficult for people to work at them 4 or 5 miles for school. Now they say, wait for us. So waiting to be in touch, informally go be in touch, say this speaking it don't too mature, so we're going to married, or these are things say don't big. Because that teenager age it can be very difficult. And I think it can make difficult decision to their own safety or their life. Now we look at the COVID-19 negative effects of them picking them, the mama them they will do business because of that. The economic tension of the again where they will get food for them picking in a house, so that can lead them picking them on the streets, go do maybe child labor or exploitation at the various areas outside them there. And we look at them, we boy picking them, they say can mingle with other boy picking them, peer group influence can deal with that too. Then we look at again even na the community. So people they will get more time with the idle. So peer group influence will lead them back again, and the community they will be very idle. Yeah.
So during the lockdown, what you wanna be do in terms of support to the picking them?
Like we look at the vulnerable groups, them will be support through NACSA, like the disabled parents, them like the government of Sierra Leone be able for support. Then vulnerable people, them like a disabled, it's a 25 kilo bags of rice and a 250 during these 2 times of lockdown at this country, as they will support them with food and non-food items them, and even with partners and use them with the support, even the vulnerable communities then with food and non-food items said then they.
So what you wanna maybe plan for do since the whole sickness not done this, so that we will continue maybe for talk to them people, we will continue maybe for help them.
One of our role as a ministry, we try for advocate to partners them where they will come in for support them pick it and they. So we look at that aspect and they will still continue for play a role so that them they will get the support they need and the district and the country as a whole. And
what would be your advice to them picking them and save them, parent them during this lockdown or during the sickness? You don't explain too much of bad things will happen to them, so that they will continue maybe for dinner. They also continue for do the good thing.
Now the advice say parents and picking this battle now all patients and fight this battle so that we will go back to school, go learn a book and further back with education, so that we will be a person in this country in the future.
That's now Yusufu Bondo, the Social Services Officer na Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs na Kailaun District. Still inside Kailaun, Momo Sise where they work na SLBC na Kailaun, Sef been talk to Umaru Vafi, the President for Children's Forum Network na Kailaun District.
So with this virus we don't come na mama salon, it don't really affect we the picking them na this part of the country. One of the negative repercussion or effect of coronavirus we bring come to the life of picking them na this Sierra Leone. It make we not complete with schooling at all academically, because like we didn't see school for open. We get the first term, we get the second term, likewise the third term. But because of the intervention of the coronavirus, we not complete the third term aspect of schooling at all. In fact, when the virus become inside the country, even the second term aspect we not done we be do in haste, because we no one get contact with this virus. So that's now one of the things we make corona really create, and not a good create but negative impact we and bring come now with life. Then we within our house as pikin them will not look happy, especially the girl child. You know, say girl pikin na person way and need encouraging. But look at this situation. Now if you take a look at this district, Kailan to be specific, we don't see most of the girl pikin them deal with better now because of waiting. They know they go school, they just sit on a host, they know they do nothing. And when a young girl is pregnant at early age, that particular girl picking will experience a wide range of problems. And that also will bring more poverty na the life of the pikin and same also to the parents. So these are the things where Corona don't really create now we life inside this part of the country.
Finally, what's your recommendation?
Well, first of all, I really want to call the attention of the government now that in say school will reopen for 2020-21 academic year, make it put things in place as early as possible where school will open, no picking again, not will be affected with this coronavirus. So now that's now one of the things we are going for an appeal from the government. Then let the government also assist the parents then if any possibility they for provide schools materials, because the corona make most of the parents and where they carry on with them business then they don't get anything so far, because we get some parents that will go in and outside of the country of the schools affairs.
That's Umar Ovafi, one of the presidents for Children's Forum Network na Kailan District. Before I go for music break, I reach na the northern region na Makeni, Bombali District. And here waiting James Nathaniel Toronka, one of the presidents for Children's Forum Network na Bombali District, been tell Emil Django, one of the station manager for Radio Maria na Makeni.
Well, really, the area of education, you know, COVID-19 really don't disturb the education na Sierra Leone, because since COVID breaking, now we see say if we don't give a gap of how many months we are speaking and we get the chance for go school, and by the time we then can give you something like 3 weeks for Kaibu recover before ever we start exam, you see that time they not enough, and we can see the exams, you know, just you know to say it way the MPSC is all long come out, even though quite encouraging compared to last year, but it quite challenging again, because we look the area of the Becker examination, especially in Makenia, it be quite challenging, because now the first time ever in the history of Sierra Leone for make we see say school picking they go sit in a net, so it don't create a lot, and governments not be able to get that time for, you know, because like some of the excuses that don't be the give, say governments not able to put proper structures in place where people then be short, not able, the candidates not able to get the paper them way they required. And coming to the area of the care, you know, you see say most of the parents will not be get time for we, and especially Bombali here, Makeni to be precise, most of the family are business like families them, you know, they spend most of the time in the market, so not get time for them picking. When picking they stay at home, and Makeni na is way street trading or something where you be say lots of picking they go do street trading, and during the process where you go give picking market for sale, we know what 10,000 million, somebody go buy, and sometimes the parents then can even say where they go sell this market, make sure say you don't know, and if that picking we able go down, somebody they will go buy them with the intention, now make we get high rates of teenage pregnancy. So COVID-19 that send we back now us for make we did a long time. And picking way really sometimes way you know get something where they engage we mind thinking so high do we can engage with self in all of that things them. So COVID-19 it really don't disturb we greatly, to be honest.
Now let we come back now the classroom them. Before COVID-19, una be interact with una company in a class, una can even come out for take una lunch. But COVID-19 the restrictions say social distance, and una no for buy food in a class or in a school. How that affect una as speaking them in a school?
Well, it affects me greatly, because we look, you know, they can always say no work, no play, make Jack or Jane a dull boy, a girl. You know, we go forget a recreational something we go make we ease with leisure, because like some of the strict measures that we then be don't put say 9 days buy food, and that's be quite difficult for we. Then and coming to the area of the now we classrooms them, you know, some of the precautionary measures them way the government be don't put in place so we for observe, it be quite challenging, because we look now this free education. A lot of we the school picking them we enroll na different schools there, and you see the population is very dense, and the class will accommodate the number of students them, we pass that number there. So you see, say the social distancing be quite difficult to make we able forget that. Even though we be able to cope because of the Veronica buckets and day way, at least we be the wash we hands them and the face masks. Not to everybody able get the access or get the face masks. So COVID really disturb we that side. It be really disturb you greatly. And you see, say that like what I've seen no more that long time we will be on there, we don't see them. We not get that, you know, say we they go school, they refresh your mind, they able help you. But sometimes if we see them, not all man can get that opportunity there for the reading book, you know, because a lot of distractions and it quite difficult. So it really affects we.
So what thing would be your message now to authorities in connection with COVID-19 and education and care for una the picking them?
Because like the way we see the world, how the world they go now, you see a pandemic them it can occur with, let's say COVID don't come, the next 3 to 4 years, and I wish for that. We might have another different sickness again where you come, we are not going to wish for. So make we get a pre-plan, we plan ahead for any term way we they get anything like pandemic like this way. They don't put in structures in place, so that's not going to disturb the education. The area of the care. You know, me and Daniel, they talk to me, we parents them, because most of we parents them back, we not go to sometimes they blame the government too much. The parents them back get responsibility for say they able go more up well for make we be that somebody.
That's not James Nathaniel Toronka, the president for Children's Forum Network na Bombali District. Make I give a short music break.
This is so serious, yes. Coronavirus, hello people, let me take a serious. Pretend it, stay conscious. So you left for good to other man. This is not the time you for mind the other man, yeah. I know you left for good to other man, but this is not the time you for mind the other man, yeah.
So now with a take time with the people we got fever. People with the cough and with a shiva. Cause this not a time we for stay cautious. Cause Wakuma no know but funny no symptoms with fever. So convalescent, now be one of them. Make them pick you wash and we stop and what's no follow them. Ebola be don't go make corona no one of them. So salute people let we learn and take precautions them.
You got to conscious think about coronavirus. Take precaution like for cap under your eyes. This now sickness we go kill it quick. If you not take them do the right thing, you go end up deep. Some people them muna let we wake up. This is all the message from the well-body people them. Protect your life, protect your life. Take it so the message we go save your life, yo. Let me hear it what. Let me take precaution. Let me hear it what, hear it what. Let me hear it what. Let me take precaution. Let me hear it what, hear it what.
If I be no plenty sick way come thinking out for good. You the cough fever, you can breathe, oh no. No say coronavirus. No matter who you are, plenty don't die. You know the people that you want. We all can testify. Save your life from this virus. Save your life from this virus.
So you get to be aware. Don't forget to use your hand sanitizer. Oh, you soap and water. Corona not a joke, not a joke.
Fambulem, me na Dr. Alpha Tijan Wuri, me na the Minister of Health and Sanitation. We see big trouble they happen at the rest of the world, but we're not afraid. We're not afraid because we don't get an exposure before. We don't learn and know waiting for them. I have strong belief in the resilience of the people of Sierra Leone. We say they ask of we, and for make we they wash our hands all the time. Because now your hand they bring dirty na your eye, your nose, your mouth, all them open na your face. And then how easy the virus they pass to your body.
Welcome back to the second segment of the program. La we tap Corona na Salone. Members say na Radio Mount Aureol-CTN at Fabe College na Freetown. Joining with 14 partner radio stations, including the radio station where they listen to, so for bringing this program to you. Inside this edition, I will look at how the corona sector unbox school business with special attention to primary and secondary education. Me now, na presenter, Bintu Mansare. Make we listen to this important message.
The bad news is that everyone is a potential victim. But the good news is that everyone is a potential solution.
Me family them, as we all the wait patiently and the hope say the coronavirus sick go done bata na salone and make all things go back to normal. Let we continue for play we own part for help for drep this sick. Now term them like this, we for sure we love for we country by how we dey do the thing them where well body ministry and the salon government say we for the do. We go make the sick no go scatter and catch plenty people. Do ya make we continue for where we face mask anytime we dey go na public place or inside transport. And no say the face mask not to fall inside your bag, purse or pocket or safe under your chin. The best way for wear face mask na way it cover your mouth and your nose fine one. Make we continue for wash we hand them with soap and clean water or use sanitizer all time. Public and private building them safe for continue for put clean water and soap na the entrance them so that people where they go inside the building them go wash their hand. Make we the volunteer and talk to we people them for go do the COVID-19 test so that we all go know we status. And finally, not forget for go na hospital or any health center where you dey feel sick. Together we go beat and drep COVID-19 comot na salone. This na message where they comot from Radio Mount Aureol-CTN na Fabe College na Freetown.
The bad news is that everyone is a potential victim.
Let us continue with the program. And I still there inside the northern region, but this time around, I go to Tonkolili district for join Saidu Mahmoud Ba, when the station manager na Radio Bonkelenke na Yele, as he been talked to Victor Christian Hamilton, when as psychosocial assistant na Commit and Act Foundation na Bonkelenke Chiefdom Tonkolili district.
Sierra Leone, like any other country in Africa and the world, COVID-19 affects we picking them so much. In a sense, for look at our environment, we find ourselves. We all know that we communities they are so based on we traditional ways them way we been on the live before. COVID-19 with a negative impact now that we community are so that affect we picking them so much, and now that a lead. So even a situation outside the picking them being get for Sidona house, they know they go to school. I want for believe COVID-19 affect to picking them Lambuk one, Pasmak one. Looking at our educational system na Sierra Leone, we all know for far too long we don't struggle with the system of education na Sierra Leone, and we just come up from the Ebola scourge, and whilst they try for creep, then COVID-19 come. And now one way we na Sierra Leone not even know usa we come on and usa we they go. So it cause for them panic and other things that happen that we picking them. We've been getting cause for let them sit on our house for far too long. And we all know during the course of this COVID-19, borders them in close from one district to the other. We see lockdowns. And we see measures them where nothing they will not been done used to. Like one we get for do the face masks and the hand washing and that of the social distance will been done used before. So all land they keep the picking in our house when the educational system look at all of them thing and they because that will pick here we want for believe say now we future leaders them. And if by any means as a country we want for protect them. Now I make we self as an organization they try for play with part for CC we prevent them picking the answer.
Okay. Now this COVID-19 how it touch
picking them land book one, it gets any relation to like the poor performance in both internal and external examinations? For instance, looking at this MPSC results, we don't come out, and other examinations, so we don't pass. See?
Yes, sir. I want to believe it affects them negatively because the internal exams them from school to school where some of we don't they pay visit. We find out say the performance them not to be in something where we they write home about.
Mr. Hamilton, now let's take you away from the land book area. How about like this care where parents can take generally for them picking them in relation to this COVID in Kanwan? How you see the care giving, you know, from parents, the owner self with the work speaking them, how now observing things in this
caregiving. Now one way I want to believe now a challenging one now this country. More especially when it comes to the rural areas like the inside away we fend we safe. You find out say the parents and because of poverty and the economical challenges within they face, you find out say they know they pay more attention to the picking them.
That's Victor Christian Hamilton, the psychosocial assistant na Commit and Act Foundation na Bonkalenke Chiefdom Zonkolili District. Still inside Zonkolili District, Ibrahim A. Conte where they work na Radio Baft na Mile 91. Sef been talked to Fatma Sabai Kamara, the manager na Children's Affairs Islamic Dawah Training Center.
No implementation of programs during this time. IDTC funding agencies are the first get this sick and oversee. This scale down the implementation of programs like the Kurbani, the Ramadan, and the Eid gift. What do we mean by Kurbani? We can normally slaughter cows them during Dunke Sali for them picking there. We can make let the picking them feel lively. They slaughter them cows there, give the picking them where other people and the benefits during that day. But within this year, the number be able to reduce. And also the Ramadan. Ramadan, we can get programs the way we can organize with them picking there. We they cook for them. We can call an iftar. Call them picking there. Call them parents them. Come together. We cut fast together. They eat, enjoy, then go. And also the eat gifts. Donors can normally send money for them picking there. We can buy gifts for them during this period. But all this not be able to happen this year because of this sick. So it affects we greatly. The other challenge will get the restriction of movement. This will affect the organization and the picking them. Picking them not be able to attend schools. Picking them not be able to attend Arabic. Because we support picking them in two folds. The formal education, at the same time the non-formal education when at the Arabic section. So because of this restriction be able to make the picking and not able effective again with their studies, they're not able to go attend the lessons. So all this be able to affect them, and that now other challenges towards the picking them.
How about the attendance? Like you rightly say the picking are not able to attend. So that get anything way it affects them because they're not being very effective again for attending the Arabic schools and the other areas where then they do formal schooling?
Yes, it will affect them. Because like we not be able to gather them all together, and teacher we go able to take the lesson because of this social distance and no gathering. But we able to talk to them, talk to the people them, make them able to take care of the picking, let them study at home, let them able to sit them together, guide them picking, let them study. So then they be affected because they're not able to move on to the level they will be expected and say them for don't reach at this time.
What you can tell the parents the way actually they serve as either foster parents or guardians, where they take care of them picking, so because as you say, we not get a kind of an orphanage where they support them picking, so but they all deal with foster parents them. What do you actually expect from them?
Well, we go encourage all the foster parents them, we go talk to them, let them continue for take care of them picking there, let them continue for advise them picking there, let them maintain the precautions the way we government give.
That's a Fatma Sabai Kamara, when a manager Children's Affairs Islamic Dawah Training Center, Sierra Leone, na Mile 91, Zonkolili District. For Mile 91 is the northern region, and they come na Freetown, na the western area, and near from Erikawa, when a former publicity secretary for the Children's Forum Network. Eric been talked to me workmates na Radio Mount Aureol-CTN by Candid Toure.
One thing we are one for states now that anytime we any problem happen na any country or any side, the people them we actually they get affected. Picking them they among the category of people them because you find out see them very much like vulnerable to like certain things. So as a result, this time around, though probably maybe medical support or this I go see picking them not they get much affected in terms of maybe the health side. But then you look at it in other ways, them actually get affected in different ways, especially you mentioned about the school. So the fact that we get this corona sickness now in country, government may get for shut down all schools. So we make picking and not go school for like a couple of times. Now this the and away school then don't they open. And during this process they don't miss out on so many things. Some of them able for not be able for like try for the catch up with the syllabus and even go to certain levels and even with the maybe virtual teachings and sometimes radio teaching programs where the government puts. Not to everybody actually even benefit from that because some people they not get time for like even like listen to that and even looking at the examination them or the people that really take examination. You find out say the MPSC, of course the back end the worst we actually then take and then take and doing the process where maybe they not even like cover all within the need for cover doing the then day. So again about from that day again we look at the psychological like impact where this COVID-19 don't get pandemic for most of them people picking there also. So you find out say the way of thinking don't become somehow different. Of course, the fear you in very much day, but then the fact that at this point in time, people now get exposed or actually get more time now us rather than for them at school. So you find out see most of them go to watch movies and go to watch other some contents they may be on online and this that. So then they also able to expose some of them into certain things and we like not even get a way for like add more impact.
So you feel say it timely because you understand say government for open schools again come October 5. You feel say it timely now the government in your side for let the open schools. More so when we know say we not eradicate this sickness so totally entirely in the country.
Opening now one thing, but the measures actually need for the and not just for the but also for impose certain for like implement them. So again, you look at the other side again for let them sit down again too much. The more they sit down, the more they get these issues, effects, and everything. As it is now, some even picking themselves don't suffer from some issues like child labor, child trafficking, and maybe some marriage them or maybe I would say child marriage and other sexual type of like exploitations. And because the more you like be in house, you get exposed to some of the then like stuff there. So in terms of opening the schools now, whether it's being timely or not, or everything get for depend on the factors and some of the rules that we get for like implement for like ensure the school open.
That's Eric Kawa, one a former publicity secretary for Children's Forum Network. Still inside Freetown, my other workmate Ishmael Salukoroma, Steph been talked to Hassan Fuad Kanu, the executive director for Youth and Child Advocacy Network. Hassan say the MPSC results will come out this BNTM. Now one part of the thing that will show how the COVID-19 affects picking the medication in the country.
I think we don't see the effect greatly when the NPSC results come out. It was visible that we never forget none of the government secondary schools not be inside the first 10. And this is not the first time we made a for say over 100 schools cannot make a requirement to enter secondary school. You understand? Those who picking in other schools, over 100 schools. That for the first time we made this kind of bad news. That tells you how it affects the picking in terms of the education. And we notice all the 10 schools we be able to make them up at the MPSC. Then now some of the schools and they will be do lesson notes where so many people will be opposed. We try to keep the picking back for them not live out of them and then see the results after where the picking can sit back. Because then they get into to the picking for makeup. Another way also where it affects the education. Now for the first time also we notice for say in some parts of the country picking we get better than we see was scared vividly. You understand? These are picking will not get better before the worst, but because of the situation we don't have and by the time you go for sit now, some of them they don't get better and way very negative things, because tell you what, yes, they don't go for go sit there once, whether they're successful or not. Some of them not go, even if they pass, they're not going to stay make it to university or college because outside them maybe they not get an opportunity for get somebody for carrying on a free talk. You understand? Maybe they parent them and then they just believe or say we don't get secondary education, so you do so once you have the yield and right. Any other thing now they will learn later. You understand? So many other things then. So you get a lot of ways then. There's a serious issue about social response, you understand? Psychosocial things are not there, you understand? And then the Ministry of Social Welfare not able to come up with a clear plan of how they want to attack corona and the things the way they affect young people them in terms of the corona response.
So what now your intervention with regards to the thing and especially with regards to education?
Around me we noticed that there was a serious challenge in terms of education, and we also noticed that the Ministry of Education they may do radio teaching program, but unfortunately they bank them on just 2 radio programs, 2 radio stations. One of them are audio Watsalo, and the other one now one within a free tone when education radio, and we. For me, both of them, they all get some serious listenership challenge, wherein they need for cardio people, they need for them forget the grounds in terms of the media landscape. We did. So we come up with an idea. What if we come with a radio learning? We need to radio teaching. We in a radio learning, wherein also for just the picking them, but also the parents and what they will learn. Then go for guiding picking them. Then we'll go through to some tutorials and get professional teachers them. So we look at if we do this. So we come up with an idea saying why don't we focus on the 4 core subject we in the take na beke, because we don't fear for them beke picking them, because they're in a prime stage, they're in the early and the teenagers then the morphology and every other thing around them don't begin change. They visit on big woman and everything. So we fear was that how can we engage them so that they no go and misinterpret the growth that they happen to them there. So we do we come with what we call me and my teacher. So they do now Star Radio and also AR Radio. So we do a 1 time per week, and then picking them we get response. We put prizes them every week. We keep question and answer. That's how you say picking in our talo, picking in our bow, picking in our potloco. They don't win them prize there. So we show for say they're listening and then they follow within particular program there. So the only unfortunate thing, and this nothing will be targeted between June to September, hoping that by September we'll go back to normality. Unfortunately, the thing is still continue, and then the program they don't do in September, and so we cannot continue with them. Resources also are constrained and other things there. So in terms of social, we come up with the situation reports, and we gave it what they call the COVID, you understand, the COVID era in terms of issue around sexual gender-based violence, and we can pull a report where Silent Police will commend them a lot in terms of their agility in taking out some of the things, but we also come and draw attention of so many things then where we feel to say people they need for do. We also thank government because they try to make some attempts, but we feel to say most of these things then we need to do more things in terms of prevention. It make no sense for you wait till they're picking before you begin for going to court, begin for do things then, begin for make laws then. No, let us get more prevention laws then. You understand? We will help the picking them for them to not tamper with them. Rather than when they don't tamper with them, we will begin.
That's Asan Fuad Kanu, the Executive Director for Youth and Child Advocacy Network. Now, after this edition of the program will end, and Cabo for where you take it for listening to me. Not forgetting a Radio Mount Aureol-CTN at Fabe College and Freetown. Join with 14 partner radio stations then, including the radio station where they listen to for bring time this program to you. Until we meet again for the next edition, let's remember say the corona sick down about picking their medication, and wind away concern for do waiting for do for help the picking them. Thank you to the production team. We assistant producer Adi Victoria Musu Conte. We producer na Ahmed Musa by Sise, we senior producer, and James Sabalebi now we executive producer. Me now na presenter Bintu Mansare, they said Tata.
Corona na go go, no. That's different and fact is common enemy. You know go go.